Hello and welcome everybody to Theory of Anything podcast, episode number 36.
Yeah.
I hope everyone's having a good day wherever you are, whatever time it is. Maybe it's even a night time, I don't know.
Who knows?
Who knows? I mean, it's pretty speculation.
Yeah.
Today,
I mean, it's 7:20 at the moment.
Mate, you're trying to dox me or something.
Yep.
So today I have with me my co-hosts, Ford. You right, Ford?
Welcome to the party, pal.
Thank you for that. And I also have with me who I call Dad, but others call Andy. How are you, Andy?
And they sometimes call me something else.
I don't think so.
We can't share that here. I'm well, thank you. I'm very well. Well, happy birthday, everyone.
Happy birthday.
Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Theory of Anything pod.
Oh yeah, I've got.
You had me for a long time now.
Oh,
I'm
you're
so
not very
confused.
slow on the pickup there. Yeah, it's our first anniversary. This time last year, first week in January, we released our first episode.
Yeah.
And at this time of recording, it is again the first week in January.
Wow.
Yeah. Not bad.
Not bad.
That's pretty good.
It's been long or short?
Well, it's been a funny year, hasn't it? So it's difficult to say whether did it drag in some ways. Has it been quick? Yeah. Who knows?
Wow. Look at all the productive things we've got to do throughout the entire year through the Theory of Anything podcast. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, it is. I will be just sharing a few stats at the end of this little barrage of comment just about our first year. So listen out for that in a moment.
You sure you don't want to just go into that like right now because it's appropriate?
Okay, let's do it now, shall we? Okay, let's do it now then, shall we? So year one in the Theory of Anything house. We've, as you know, we just mentioned we've had 35 episodes broadcast, and across those episodes, I'll just give you a few bits of statistics, shall I? 126 actual conversation segments across all our different category subjects. Most popular three were the in first place, the anything chat. So that basically means, anything else other than the other categories, really, doesn't it? The second place category was film. Funnily enough, film was the second place in most conversed chat. And then in third place was matters of faith. So our Christian faith subjects primarily. So that's interesting, actually, that it was in third place. It only accounts for 16% of our conversation. The comment I was going to make about that is that if anybody is put off by being a podcast by Christians rather than a Christian podcast, I think there's a big difference there, isn't there? Then really you've only got to put up with 16% of our conversation if that's not your bag.
But I thought it permeated everything.
It does permeate everything. Yeah, but yes, so that's my comment on that.
I didn't mean to just derail you there, but
yeah, which I thought was okay. That's a good blend, I think. And then behind that, you've got games, TV, technology, literature, and music in that order. So we've got to up our talk on music and literature and downplay some of our film chat. Is what I take from that. The average gap between episodes is averaging 10 days, even though in the last few months the average has gone up because we've had some bigger gaps recently. And the average show length is 1 hour and 7 minutes. I think that's all I need to say about it, really.
Nice.
So nice bit of, if you like, statistics.
Yes.
And hopefully that's something to interest you in. Okay.
Very nice. Thank you very much for that.
That's all I'm going to say about that.
Well, we're definitely not going to help with the getting the films down as we are doing a film today. But never mind.
Oh, we are, aren't we?
Yeah. So it's
Wow.
off to a bad start for this coming year. But I'm sure we'll get a lot of other different subjects in as well, as we say.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Thank you.
Indeed.
Is there anything else anyone wants to talk about?
yeah, no.
Gosh, we've got lots to say, haven't we?
I've only got one thing to say, but yeah. A fair few episodes ago, we talked. Well, I brought the fact that Ready Player 2, the book, was coming out, and I wanted to report in because I've just finished reading / listening to it. And it's no good. It's not good
What?
at all.
The book's no good.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah, this is the sequel, isn't it? To Ready Player 1, obviously.
Ready Player 2, the sequel to Ready Player 1. First one I really enjoyed. Second one is a shameless cash grab. It's
really?
A book
It
that's
is.
a shameless cash grab.
Oh yes. He's riding off the success of obviously the film and the previous book, and No one I've seen reviewing this seems to like it at all, so I would not recommend.
And my first question about that is there any rumours on the mill or in the mill that there'll be a Ready Player 2 film?
After the poor reception, I doubt it. I have literally heard of the second book. I can't imagine anyone thinking this should be a good film.
I haven't even seen much. Like, I forgot that you said that it was coming out.
Oh, really?
So I haven't seen anyone talking about it at all.
All the cool YouTubers who do book reviews have been talking about it, and it's not good.
Yes, all those cool YouTubers that do book reviews.
There's so many of them
that read books. Yeah.
Interesting.
On YouTube.
Okay.
I guess that's a really good pickup. That is.
That's commented on. That's that done.
Yeah,
Tick.
Done.
Okay. What's next?
I guess I should talk about Cyberpunk because I mentioned it before. Because I was talked about it coming out, and I've been waiting 8 years for it, and how it's really good and everything like that. Mm-hmm. And I finished the game by now. And I really, really enjoyed it, and it was an amazing game.
Is it supposed to have like hours and hours of side quests and something like that?
Yes. Basically, I've done. I was on 45 hours by the time I finished the main storyline, and I've still got a lot of side quests to do.
Wow.
But I want to report in as well that obviously I played mine on PC, which I mentioned before, and I mentioned also that playing it on console was a bad experience. They've done a lot of patches since then, so it's a little bit better experience, but a lot of the console marketplaces have pulled it from the stores because it was so trash. So therefore, what I said was true. But it's not. They didn't pull it because it was so trash. They pulled it because so many people wanted refunds from it.
Yeah.
So
really,
I see.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made national headline news, didn't it? Yeah, I saw it on I don't know, News at 10 or something like that on BBC. That this brand new, highly waited for game has been removed from the shelves. So yeah, not good publicity for them.
No, not at all. But it's probably Cyberpunk's fault because they literally just went, "Oh, if you have it on a console and you had like a previous gen console, then feel free to contact Sony or Microsoft to get a refund." And Sony at the start was like, "Heck no! What are you talking about? I don't want to give you a refund."
Okay.
Amazing.
Well, one presumes it plays better now on the next gen console.
Oh yeah, it always played pretty well on like I guess next gen, current gen, the latest gen consoles and PC. It always played really well with some quite a few minor bugs, but nothing really game breaking.
So PS4 was struggling with it. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, PS4, even PS4 Pro was okay. Like ish okay, but standard PS4 and standard Xbox One weren't great at all. So it was Cyberpunk who it's CD Projekt Red who made Cyberpunk, who told everyone to go and get refunds. That kind of shot themselves in the foot. Obviously they closed down a lot of the marketplaces, so now they're going to CD Projekt Red themselves to get refunds as well.
Okay.
So.
Wow.
But get it on PC if you've got a good PC. It's good.
Okay. I don't have a good PC, so that's a problem. But anyway,
Well, get it on PS5 if you ever get one.
If I do, yeah. Okay. Well, it kind of, well, at my current rate of catching up with games, that probably will be a PS5 in about 4 years' time, because I've just been playing a game which I got at quite a good budget price from Tesco's. Other supermarket game retailers are available. Called The Last of Us.
Yes.
Yeah, a well-known title. Lots of people have heard of it, I'm sure. And I'd heard so many good things about this game, and I just want to share a couple of thoughts about that.
Nice.
How much I've been enjoying it. Still haven't quite finished the story mode yet, but it's been quite a journey so far. Yeah, I don't know if either of you know anything about The Last of Us. I know there's a sequel to it, which obviously is probably more recently. This game, Last of Us, came out 6 years ago, I think. So
yeah, there's a sequel. It's one of those very story-driven games that is based in the zombie apocalypse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is what I was going to say. Jump in there. I was in the need for. I just had an urge to see what it would be like to live in a world where there was a worldwide pandemic and everything was going to pot. You know, so that's why I thought, The Last of Us is a good one. Yeah. Yeah. So,
wow.
Like I needed to escape from the real world. You see.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Anyway, carry on. What you were going to say? What were you going to say, Ford?
I was just going to say I've heard good things about the first one, not so good things about the second one.
Really? Okay.
A lot of people didn't think the second one needed to be made. Again, it's Ready Player 2 situation, They're just milking it, sort of thing.
Okay,
that's just what I heard.
What I've enjoyed about it is the characterization and the storytelling I think is brilliant. I understand what you just said, Devon, is true. There's a lot of sitting back and watching the story unfold without you having to touch the controller. There's also a lot of searching every corner of the map for any collectibles that you
like
need.
it.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. But what there is a lot of that I don't normally like in games, and that is the horror genre, the jump scares. But they have been done so well that the tension is really quite something I've not experienced. It's a game genre that I probably avoid normally. But because I'd heard so many good things about it, I was really drawn to pick it up for such a budget price. So I've enjoyed it. Yeah, some big surprises, and really characters that you really cared about.
Yeah, I know there's a few situations that there's multiple choice options through the story. I don't know if you obviously because you get to choose what you do with dialogue and some of the actions that you perform with the story, don't you? I think. I'm not sure about that. I've not noticed that. It's very much on rails. I've not noticed. Right. Maybe that's something else, because this game definitely is. You end up being sort of funneled towards each map location that you end up in. You don't have much choices to make. How you go around navigating that section of the map is very much up to you. But I would say that in the end, the story is going to unfold in the same direction, as far as I can tell. Yeah.
Okay.
One other game which I've also been playing, because somebody bought it for me for Christmas, mentioning no names, is Star Wars Squadrons, the VR shooting, fighting starship game, which I have been mightily impressed with. And I'll just say this about it. If you've ever, I've talked about VR before, PlayStation VR, I love it. But this, to sit in both the, the TIE Fighter. You had to sit in a TIE Fighter at the very beginning. Very enclosed, very claustrophobic, but still quite a emotive experience when you're actually doing it in VR. And then you transgress in the story as it unfolds anyway, into a X-Wing. Don't ask how that happens. You can play it for yourself and find out.
You've rebelled.
Yeah. But to be in the cockpit of an X-Wing is like nothing else I've experienced in VR. It was just wow. I just had to sit there grinning from ear to ear, thinking, this is awesome, Wow. Yeah, maybe when you're allowed, you have to pop round and have a go. Yeah,
of course.
That's all I was going to say about that. But that just brings us on to Star Wars, doesn't it?
So Mandalorian is. I was wondering, because we talk mostly about Mandalorian on this channel. I was thinking we should change our name to exclusively Mandalorian content and stuff.
Yeah, Theory of Mandalorian.
Yep. Well, the last episode has obviously come out, and that was very exciting. Spoilers, FYI. Yeah, what did you guys think?
I personally enjoyed it, but I'd like to hear what you two think as well.
I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding this episode.
Oh, I haven't heard that, but no, I don't go looking for controversy, so go on.
There's lots of Twitter people being angry, but basically, because obviously in the sequel trilogy, they portrayed Luke as being a kind of pathetic guy who's given up all hope, like the opposite of what he is in the original trilogy. But then obviously in this last episode, spoilers alert, he comes back as the Master Jedi that we all know him to be in Return of the Jedi, and is kicking butt, taking names, and being really cool. And people like obviously Mark Hamill, the guy who played Luke, have celebrated this a lot and said finally the fans get what they deserve type thing.
Okay.
But a lot of people were like, oh no, I hate it that he was in it. It's not like Luke or whatever, and everyone's just kicking off, basically.
Right.
I don't think it was particularly unlike Luke. I thought it was right.
Very Luke-like, yeah.
Apart from the bad graphics, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, it was obviously a computer-generated Luke, wasn't it?
Yeah. But then it's people kicking off at the people who aren't happy with the sequel trilogy Luke, basically. Yeah. So it's just reignited that entire argument again.
So they're upset more with the sequel trilogy than they are with Mandalorian, then.
Well, the people who are upset right now are upset with the people who are upset with the sequel trilogy.
Oh.
If that doesn't make sense, I don't know what does.
Exactly. Because a lot of people like the sequel trilogy and the way that they portray Luke. For some strange reason, I have no idea why. But from what I gather, most people are very happy with the final episode, including Mark Hamill himself. So Yeah.
What other comments have you got about it?
So the episode ends with obviously Grogu, Baby Yoda, going off with Luke to be in his new Jedi temple that we find out is destroyed in the sequel trilogy by Kylo Ren. My question is, does Kylo Ren kill Baby Yoda?
Good question.
I think no, we don't see him in the sequel trilogy. Why wouldn't he be around? So I think he's dead.
Well, he wouldn't be around, Ford, because Disney do not plan anything, and they have really trash writing, longevity writing. That's why he's not in the sequel trilogy. But
in universe.
But in the universe, I don't know. Well, he could have escaped like he did with the first one, the first Jedi Temple.
Okay.
I think it was it the final episode or the one before it? Because I watched them back to back. I think. I was most impressed by the sequence with the 4 women antagonists. Protagonists. Antagonist is bad guy.
Yep.
Protagonists. This is just basic stuff I should know. The 4 women characters just absolutely kicking backside all the way across this. It was a wonderful sequence anyway. Did you not like it?
I kind of come down on the other side of it, where it just feels like they're virtue signaling the entire time. It's just, look at us, we're inclusive. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I'm pro women. I just don't think.
Yeah, what's wrong with women empowerment? Yeah.
Well, we don't see any male empowerment, do we? It's kind of sexist.
Isn't the whole film? Aren't most sci-fi? Oh dear. Anyway, yeah. They're all male empowerment. Most of the powerful characters in that and most of the sci-fis are male. So
all the females in The Mandalorian are the same character, is what I'm saying. They're all strong female character. And
I kind of have to see where Ford's coming.
And I feel like people who go down this line think that a strong woman has to look like someone who has no vulnerability, only kills people all the time, and never smiles or something like that.
Mary Sue, basically.
Being vulnerable, as we'll see in our random chat later, can make you a strong character. And I feel like I don't know. When people are trying to virtue signal, they forget to actually give their characters some character.
I didn't look too deeply into it. I just thought that those 4 characters coming together for that almost finale was exciting to watch.
You're probably right. It was cool. maybe I'm just reading into it, but it felt like they were just going, strong women.
It was cool, but the only one that I was actually really convinced of that could deal some good damage was, I think it was Kara, Kara Dune, and the person who plays Kara is a UFC fighter in real life.
And her, yes.
Yeah, she's really buff, and she looks like she could actually,
I thought you were getting your sci-fi universes mixed up, and Kara Thrace.
Yeah,
yes. That's it's the same actress who plays Starbuck. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, so she was really good as a protagonist, because she obviously does kick butt in real life, and she's convincingly kicking butt in this as well, and she looks like she could. But I kind of understand what Ford's saying. The other, a lot of the others, it's this. Okay, you should have died by now, to be honest.
So it's not on our list of things to discuss now. But what do we feel about then? If you're worried about that, about the new Wonder Woman film, or it is Wonder Woman, isn't it? 1984. I mean, there's a female character. What's the other? There's another one. Wasn't
Captain Marvel was trash.
Yeah. I mean, do we? What's the problem?
Well, Wonder Woman was physically strong. I've not seen the new film, so I don't know. But the first one, Wonder Woman is played as vulnerable but strong, as physically strong, but also kind-hearted and vulnerable. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying all women should be like that either. I'm just saying strong woman doesn't have to look like the same thing. And in The Mandalorian, we got 5 women who are all exactly the same.
Okay.
That's what I was trying to say.
When you said that, I was thinking the Mandalorian character himself exhibits those characteristics, doesn't he? It takes a while for us to see them throughout those however many episodes the 2 seasons give us. But by the end, he is vulnerable and strong, isn't he?
Yeah. And we can... I think only through vulnerabilities do we actually relate to characters.
Okay.
Yes.
And really? Oh, okay. I expected some pushback from that, but never mind. So it's just hard.
Well, it's why Superman's trash, isn't it?
He has vulnerabilities.
Yeah, of course he does.
What kryptonite? Yeah. that's a cheat. That's just a cheat that they had to get out of their butts to be able to go, okay, now he can do everything and he's perfect and he has perfect moral judgment and everything.
Look, the films don't do it very well. He's also vulnerable to magic, and a lot of people in the a lot of people in the DC universe are actually stronger than Superman. FYI. Thank you very much.
I haven't seen this.
Okay.
But you don't read comics, so
Someone else says comics are trash. Just trying to offend you as much as possible.
Anyway, that final scene when he says goodbye to the baby Yoda, because I forget his real name, Grogu is quite powerful. I thought, yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a bit disappointing.
Was it? Oh,
well, yeah,
it's so controversial today.
Yeah.
Well,
this is being awkward, isn't he?
It was really good, but that he just left, and they never see each other again, and you don't actually see what Grogu becomes or know where he his people are from or his race or anything like that.
Oh, he didn't get any answered questions.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He just was like, okay, now he's with Luke, and I know that was the goal of the entire time. But the entire series, you're thinking, who is this guy?
Two series.
Yeah. Where did Grogu come from?
Yeah, we don't know that, do we? There was a lot of unanswered questions. You're right.
Yeah.
So before we rename the whole podcast, I think we should move on to another subject. I'm not leading this today. It's you.
Yeah, but I keep talking. Yeah. So on to another, I guess, TV show. I about half an hour before starting recording finished the last season of Vikings. I know you guys haven't watched Vikings.
I've watched some of it. Yeah, I think I've watched most of the first season, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, did it not grip you, or did
I did. It did grip me. I might go back to it actually. I don't know why I stopped. There's just too much television, isn't there?
There is a lot.
There is so much.
Yeah, I was gripped by it. It's a good story. Yeah,
it's ridiculously good. I think in the latter, but this last season was kind of split into two. I don't know if you look on Prime Video, it's a bit confusing because it goes season 602 and season 601. It's a bit confusing, but 602 is the final season. They're a little bit. They're not as good as obviously the previous ones, as all these kind of things go. But it was very satisfying to see the payoff and the character arcs and how everything ends.
Okay.
And it's been really good. But that was the final season of Vikings. They might do spin-off series and that kind of thing, but that's the end for those characters.
I will try and get back to it then. Yeah.
So is this an 18 type?
Yes.
Hardcore.
Yes. I cannot express this enough. If you do not, if you do not like these type of things, there's explicit content all over the place in Vikings. So and whatever kind of explicit content you can think of is in it. So
we've had this conversation before, haven't we, Devon, about things that you enjoy?
Yeah. That's the general theme.
Okay.
No, but it's very good story anyway.
In the next episode, I want to hear your review of Mary Poppins. Okay.
Is this Vikings from the 1950s film?
No.
Oh, shame.
Surprise.
It looks a bit fun.
It is Vikings Prime Original on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Yeah, check it out.
Marvellous. Cool. That was a lot to talk about there. Thank you.
There was, yeah. Shall we actually get on to the main part of the show? Half an hour in.
Paps segment subject.
Okay, so it's my turn to suggest the feature segment for this episode, and I wanted to talk a little bit about, and this is how I'm going to introduce the idea. Well, it's multifaceted, really. I'd like to talk a bit about different podcast platforms, so not necessarily the podcast content, but the platforms that we each use and can recommend, and also where else do we get our information from? Because you've just said in our beginning of this episode a lot of information that I wasn't aware of, and obviously you've got ways of gathering that news, haven't you? And you go to places, trusted sources that you are familiar with, probably. And I just want to hear, where do you go for your news? Where do you get your news? It could be actual news. Now, as you know, our remit as a podcast is not to get political, but there's lots of different sources out there, isn't there? And I'm interested in this whole idea, in this world in which we live, where things, can be accused of being unreliable sources and fake news and all that. I just wanted to have that kind of discussion without getting in any way controversial. Well, we've already been controversial, but let's try and keep this on a fairly level playing field, shall we? Go on, what were you going to say, Ford?
Well, I was going to answer a question, but then there's no question now, is it?
Where do you get your news?
Hopefully there's a question. Hopefully there's a discussion here.
Personally, I just make it all up.
Do you? All right.
Do your own news source.
Do you consider yourself to be a reliable source?
I'm an authority on everything, I think.
Peer reviewed forward.
Yep. Seriously, personally, I listen to a lot of podcasts on Google Podcast, which is pretty good, I think, personally. But I feel like a lot of the things I listen to are available on lots of different mediums, so I don't think it really matters. There's a lot on YouTube, and I'm not actually subscribed to that many people, to be fair. So I don't know. Devon, where are you go?
Well, it's a before you go. Before you go and start your comment.
I was going to leave.
Yeah, don't leave. That's it. You're off.
Well done.
It's a multifaceted question, as in, yes, there's like you said, Google Podcasts or whatever you use. That's one aspect of it, but it is the feeds that go into that as well, isn't it? So it's not just the apps, if you like, that you use, the sources of information. Yeah. So I'm interested in both. Is what I'm trying to say.
Okay.
So the technology and the content.
When you say like, I get my news from YouTube or something like that, or Facebook, people always like look at you with disdain. But there are some actually really good news sources on YouTube. Yeah. I follow a few channels called TLDR News, and there's one for the EU, there's one for international, there's one for UK, and they're actually really, really good. And I haven't seen any kind of much bias pushing of anything on it, and it's actually really simple, really informative, and quite entertaining to watch as well, actually. So I'd recommend that on YouTube. TLDR, that stands for Too Long Didn't Read.
Amazing.
It's really good.
That sounds very interesting. I might look into that, because if I'm faced with a long article, it does put you off, doesn't it? It puts me off anyway. Yeah.
The problem I have with our articles, right? So I've got like Google, like anyone else probably, Google Chrome I go on. But whenever I open a new tab, you can scroll down and it says Discover, and it shows you a bunch of articles which you might be interested in. But they're almost always clickbaity.
Yeah.
So, so there's a book series I'm very interested in, and the latest book's rumored to come out. It's been pushed back several times, but there's almost always an article about this book coming out, and it never has any new information. It's so irritating. But it's always stuff like that, you know. And it's like, well, what use is this news that Google's trying to give me when the people on YouTube tend to be telling me about something new almost all the time, you know? I don't have a lot of experience with actual news because it's depressing, but yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So if you went to, like, you talked a lot about Star Wars and other media, where would you go to find out the latest on, say, a particular game or a film that was?
How did you know that Ready Player 2 was out?
Because so I've got a few YouTubers that read books and review them, and it's great and stuff like that.
Okay.
I don't think I'm actually subscribed to them. I just watch enough of their videos so that they pop up quite often.
So by experiencing their content, you've felt you can trust them. You've grown a relationship with that knowledge. You agree with what they say, or you find what they're saying provocative and thought provoking.
Yeah, when you
stay with them,
when you see a YouTuber and they tend to, and they're on screen, they're talking, and you get a sense of their personality as well as what they're talking about and their character. Whereas the articles that I have sometimes read, you just don't get their agenda, you know.
Okay.
And I know people on any medium are probably just trying to make money or something like that, but I don't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
I just feel like I can trust people a lot easier when I can see them and hear their tone and stuff like that.
Yeah. Let's face it, today, in this modern world in which we live, everybody's self-publishing. We're doing it now. You know, we're giving our thoughts to the world, aren't we? Now, not everybody's going to agree with our thoughts. Some people will. What? Yeah. Some people will strongly disagree with what we say and never listen to us again. Other people might listen to us, not agree with us, but still want to find out more and listen to other things because say that perhaps they do agree with. And that's the same, I think, with other content producers. Self-publicising is available to everybody, isn't it, now?
Yeah.
And, whereas, go back, rewind the clock, not just sort of a few years, but 10, 15 years, when the internet was in its infancy and pre-internet days, all we had for sources of information well, what was in the library,
Yeah.
what was on your 4 TV channels, and before that 3 TV channels, before that 2 TV channels, and what was on the radio, and that's on the newspapers. And that's all we could go, where the only places you could go. So those formats are now commonly referred to as the mainstream media, the established sources of knowledge and information, are often frowned. You talked about social media platforms being frowned upon, Devon. Well, I think also some people would frown upon mainstream media, and I'm interested by that as well. What makes some people very skeptical about things that they would hear and see on those mainstream media platforms, yet believe what the rest of the world is self-publicizing wholeheartedly.
I think it's easy to imagine that big corporations could have a finger in every pie, so it's hard to eliminate biases then, isn't it? Because obviously you can go like, BBC really favour this type of whatever, and if this happens in the government, then they'll receive these kind of subsidies or whatever it is.
Well, true.
So it can be really easy to get imaginative with who is getting what from who when it comes to really big corporations. So I think I think a lot of people are leaning forward to what just individual people say on YouTube or whatever, on Twitter, because I feel like you can trust them a little bit more for some reason.
I also feel like for the BBC, say, this is probably a personal thing to me, and it probably doesn't occur to many people, but it feels kind of dirty that their livelihood, their job, 100% is to peddle these stories that are almost always exclusively sad, and it's about somebody's unfortunate whatever, and they're just making money off this, and it just feels dirty to me. I don't know why, but somehow that's different with YouTubers or something like that. I don't know why it makes a difference, but it just feels weird.
It's our fault because we click on them, basically. They report on what sells and what gets the clicks and what gets the reads.
Bad news sells quicker than good news, doesn't it?
So if they want to make a livelihood, then they sell what we buy.
I agree with those thoughts about the mainstream media could be open to swayed journalistic preferences depending on the big financial backers and things like that. But also, one comment I would like to mention here is that I'm less dubious of mainstream media than others that I know, because they're definitely more liable to litigation if what they're saying can't be proved to be true, whereas your self-publicist guy in the basement of his mother's, in the middle of middle America somewhere, sat there in his t-shirt clacking it out on the internet, on Facebook, there's got no liability at all. He can say whatever he wants, and there's no comeback. There's no fact checking.
Well, there's not none, because they can get downvoted, get dislikes, and unsubscribed, and they'd lose a lot of credibility.
Yeah, okay, but if that person says things that appeal to other people's point of view, then his ratings will go up, and whatever he says will be accepted as true. And so there's a danger there that our sources could be guiding us in other directions. I'm not saying that all self-publicising YouTubers and Facebookers and all that are like that, but what I'm saying is I think we have to try and get our information, and I'm skirting around politics completely because that's not our bag, but we have to really think carefully about where we are getting our information, and also marry it against other sources, and then just through all of that, a mixture of different routes of information, I think you'll somewhere find probably what's true and what's not. I think it's just this day and age more than ever, we're seeing a lot of. I was talking to somebody the other day, I won't say who was pro certain EU politics regarding the separation from the European Union.
It was Devon, wasn't it?
and also pro anyway, it was quoting, it was very funny, that's the only reason I'm commenting on it now, was saying that we've left the EU and with this global pandemic, and there's no unicorns, because that was one comment that was made, that unicorns would, when we leave the EU, the whole world's, our livelihoods are going to be full of rosy and unicorns and all that. And so this conversation went down the route that the pandemic's going to lead us into a zombie holocaust. Funnily enough, which I've been playing that game. Who knows? The unicorns are going to take over. And so I said, well, what about if we had zombie unicorns, you know? And I said, put it on Facebook and see if it takes hold, because, you know, it might... I saw a zombie unicorn running down the street the other day. But that's possible, you know? Some people... it's only a joke, but do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Make it up, see if it gains traction, and watch it fly, you know?
No, you make a good point.
Something you said about big corporations liable to lose a lot more if they say something incorrect made me think about this big case that happened recently. I don't know if you guys heard much about it, but it's about Johnny Depp, and the Sun newspaper posted an article basically calling it a wife beater.
Yeah, I heard this. Yeah,
and he basically tried to sue the Sun but lost. Whether he actually was a wife beater or not, apparently they found that 12 of the 14 alleged instances of domestic violence had occurred. But
really?
it's like, well, why is he not in prison? It's like it's very strange. Everything that happened, but it seems like the Sun's kind of gone over it and not actually lost anything.
It's character deprivation. No, slander. Let me just call it that.
Call it slander.
That's true.
But they obviously they've ruled that it was substantially true what the Sun said. So basically, had nothing to go for it. But it's hard to know what actually is true and what's not. And obviously, the Sun had no implications for writing that.
So you are slightly interested in politics, aren't you?
Myself?
Yes.
You're asking me?
Yes, I am.
I like to keep abreast of what's going on, in the world.
Do you get the majority of your information from podcasts and, well, probably podcasts, or is it like mainstream media?
I think, as I've just been trying to sort of set out, really, I think it's important to have a bit of mixture of everything, really. I like to listen to people that I disagree with. I like to have my views challenged. And I think all too often in this day and age, people are filtering out the things that don't agree with their preconceived ideas. I don't always get swayed by other alternative facts, as one person famously has said. But I will listen. I will hear out other people of different views, you know. So, but when it comes down to your news stories, your everyday news stories, I will go to the BBC. I'll go to Sky. You know, I'll go wherever else I can go. Regarding things like the American elections recently, I've tried to get both sides of that story because they're so diverse. You know, I still have my own opinion, but I want to hear why the people who think differently, why they're feeling like that, you know, and I'm trying to learn something about that, even though I've still probably come away from it with the same view, you know. I find those things interesting anyway. Does that make sense? I'm not a big fan of getting news off of Facebook and other social media platforms because of the reasons I've already stated, but I've got a few platforms that I use. I love my I'm going back to the technical thing rather than the content thing. I love my podcast platform that I use, which is called Overcast. It's a great way of organizing my podcast. As I've mentioned on previous episodes, I've got quite a lot of people that I follow listening to their material, and I can manipulate the order in which I listen to them really effectively through Overcast. So it's the best platform I've found anyway. But I also there's an app I've used on my iPad called Flipboard, which you can subscribe to different content producers, and the interface is really pleasant to use, you know. So that's just some of my preferences, I think. Flipboard and Overcast. Again, what content you put through those is entirely up to you. But exactly. I'm not a big fan of Facebook, I must admit.
But you could follow BBC News on Facebook.
Oh, absolutely.
Who is going on your feed. So true. It is difficult. As I said at the beginning, it's like everyone looks at your disdain for saying, you get your news from Facebook or YouTube, when you choose what you're listening to through those things. Like you could be watching the exact same video on Facebook as you just watching the news on channel. I don't know.
Yeah. Would you say Reddit is good? I don't go there, but I wonder what Devon.
I'm not too familiar with it.
I mean, as a website, I hate it, but as a news source, I have no idea. I stay away from it, to be honest.
Oh, right. I thought you had some experience.
Not really.
I know a lot of people go to Reddit for that sort of thing, but yeah.
I've only limited experience with Reddit. I think occasionally when I've been stuck in a game, I've Googled for some help, and it's taken me to Reddit for gaming kind of tips and hints and things, but I don't know if it's... I'm sure it does more than that, doesn't it? But is it a platform that covers more than just...
It's the front page of the internet.
Oh, yeah.
According to Reddit.
Oh, right. According to them,
Very good.
There's a lot of users, and there's a lot of subreddits, they're called, which obviously subreddits that you can subscribe to that are different subjects.
Yeah.
So you can get a lot of really good information from it, but anyone can post anything anywhere, pretty much, I think.
Yeah, okay.
So it's kind of like getting your news from there. I don't really know.
There's one other reference point I was going to mention before we close this discussion, I think, and that is Wikipedia.
What do we feel about Wikipedia? Do you tend to...
No. Stay away from it.
You don't like Wikipedia?
Because you can't reference it.
Yeah.
Well, what can you reference?
Articles,
Books, yeah.
BBC.
You have to go and buy a book.
Nah. I was actually going to talk about this, but I forgot. There's this, it's kind of along the lines that we were talking about. There's this website now called Sci-Hub, which basically allows, as long as you've got the DOI of an article, like a academic article or book, you can put that into Sci-Hub and it gives you the whole article for free. And it's kind of like, it's like the first free platform for these scientific journals and things like that. So it's really good for getting actual academic peer-reviewed articles widespread.
That's interesting.
It's really, really good.
Okay, that is interesting. I've always felt that I know that Wikipedia is definitely user content. It's updated by anybody because if you've subscribed to it. But I'll just mention, I don't do this again very often. One of my favourite podcasters is a guy by the name of Dr. Carl. You've heard me mention him before, I think.
Oh yes,
Dr. Carl, Australian guy, and he
the Naked Doctor,
the Naked Scientist.
Yeah. Oh, the Naked Scientist.
Yeah, but Dr. Carl is a fabulous font of scientific knowledge and in many different fields, and he will often reference peer-reviewed journalism via or through the Wikipedia.
If there's a source for it, then that you can actually chase up the citation through. Then but.
So I think what you said probably is incorrect in as much as that Wikipedia isn't.
Oh.
Yeah. Disagreement.
If there's a citation anywhere, like if Facebook Karen cites what she's saying, then it's trustworthy because you can read through the citation and reference. But from what I've seen, most Wikipedia articles don't have any citation.
I know you can't trust it implicitly because, as I say, anybody can contribute to it. But I had a feeling that there is a lot of peer-reviewed material on there, and I think content regulated as well. If you can report facts that are false, can't you?
You can,
Yeah.
Okay, that was the only other thing I wanted to say about it. Is there anything else anybody wants to add?
I feel like most of the podcasts and YouTube channels I'm a part of and listen to, they're all just nerdy or Christian-y.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically all I listen to.
Yeah.
Nerds and Christians.
Yeah. Well, it makes you part of who you are.
Well, I mean, we were going into second lockdown. And I was like, before we're going into second lockdown, like, what, like, have you seen? He's like, what? I haven't seen this at all. And it was like a few days after it was announced. Yeah.
Current affairs is not your thing, is it?
No, not at all. No,
unless it's.
I do Christian history if you like. Yeah.
Nice.
You're our resident theologian, are you?
Yeah. Oh no, I won't troll.
Interesting. Thank you. There's a good bit of interesting thought there.
Yeah,
Thank
that was
you.
a really good subject to bring.
So I'm going to look up TLDR. What platform is that? Where do I search for that?
YouTube,
yeah. And Sci-Hub for some of the more serious stuff.
If you want to actually read through some really long academic journals.
Right. Probably not then. I'll wait till it comes out on DVD.
Yeah, perfect.
Very good.
Okay. Right, is that enough?
Yeah, nice.
Let's move on. We've got some. Well, you do what you've got to do next.
We've got some. We've got some random chat to talk about. The homework from last episode.
And now it's time for random chatting.
Alright, and on to our homework random chat section. Last episode, obviously, we sent out the homework of watching the film Die Hard, which was released in 1988. It follows a story about a deadbeat cop who is kind of trying to win back his family, but kind of not at the same time, doesn't really care. And he gets stranded in a terroristic situation where he has to kick butt and take all the names of all the terrorists literally on his arm.
Yeah, he does, doesn't he? Literally takes their names.
Yeah.
Terroristic, I love that phrase, yeah.
I don't know if it's a word.
It's not, but it helps, yeah, draws a picture.
Yeah, that's basically it in a small nutshell.
Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers ahead for sure.
Yeah. If you haven't seen this film since 1988, where have you been?
Well, To be fair, this was my first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, let's go with you first then, Ford, because I'm interested to hear what you thought.
Well, I was just going to give a little heads up. It is an 18. Although I think if they'd removed like one detail from the film, I think it could have been knocked right down. Personally, well, I was going to say the nude woman, but whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This is quite gory, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, some of the shots are quite graphic for the time.
Probably not for now though.
No.
Apparently, it had a budget of 28 million and got 140 million on box office. So, and that's box office alone. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
But also, apparently, critics didn't like it at the time, which I find is quite interesting. They thought it was really generic.
Well, they went on to make how many more? About 5, I think, altogether. So obviously, it was doing something right, wasn't it? Obviously, it earned its keep.
What did you think of young Bruce Willis? I've never seen him this young before.
He got hair, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
Not much, but some, yeah.
Yeah.
I thought he does a good job with the character that he's playing. Yeah, I enjoyed him. There's a nice mix. There's a lot of violence, but there's some interesting hints at humour as well throughout it. I don't know if it made you laugh at any point. It did me a few times, but we'll maybe come on to that. I've got lots of notes. I don't want to jump in and read all my notes, so let's just... Who's going to go first?
I wanted to jump in, because obviously we set this film as homework throughout the Christmas period, and I wanted to say that my favourite Christmas film is now officially Iron Man 3.
Oh dear.
If this is a Christmas film, then Iron Man 3 is a Christmas film. And there we go.
I don't know, this one actually had Christmas music in it.
It's got quite a lot of
really.
Christmas. It did.
The main song isn't even a Christmas song. They just played it like it was Christmas.
Right. So these are the songs. So you're jumping right to my final thoughts here.
Wow.
It's got Winter Wonderland song. It's got Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC. And of course, it's got Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow. Those are 3 Christmas songs. And then it ends with, if this is your idea of Christmas, I've got to be here for New Year's.
That doesn't mean it's a Christmas film, though.
Okay.
It's a film that happened to be at Christmas. The story has got nothing to do with it being Christmas.
And you hear that jingle bells, jingle away just before he shoots Hans at the very end.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
So we did that, didn't we?
And virtually in the background, there's Christmassy theme music most of the way through, including the end credits.
I'd like to throw down a gauntlet here and say Bruce Willis says it isn't a Christmas film.
Yeah,
I don't know if you take his word.
He does, doesn't he? Yeah, that's true.
Good.
Yeah.
But it's still most people's favourite Christmas
But it's
film.
it's not about Christmas. You can make it not Christmas and it'll be the exact same film.
Set on Christmas Eve. The only reason he's there is because it's Christmas. He's come back to see his family.
Yeah, he's come back to see his family. You could have made it he's come back to see his family. It could be not Christmas and it'd be the exact same film.
Right, getting off this boring point. I didn't really buy the relationship issue with his wife.
Because he was being what's the word? On several occasions, he takes a cock and a snoot and a glance at various other attractive women, doesn't he? So
yeah, but their whole problem was that she wanted to pursue her career and he wouldn't support her or something like that. And there's only like one conversation of that. And by the end of the film, they don't actually resolve anything together.
No.
And yeah, I just found that not very believable.
I assume he quit his job or got transferred to that police department. He probably wouldn't be able to get a transfer to that police department, but he probably would have quit his job, I think, because I think he was I'm done with being policeman now.
I thought he stayed where they were and she moved away because of her promotion.
Yes, yeah, but Devon's talking about at the resolution at the end.
Oh, right, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something I really did like, though, is Alan Rickman in this film.
He's brilliant.
I think he's great.
Yeah, I've written a line here. Alan Rickman is the best thing about this. Yeah.
Really? You like?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, his character is brilliant. Yeah, and his portrayal of him is really clever.
What do you think about his American accent?
I didn't see it as a problem. Was it bad?
Well, he says he thinks it's really bad and it should have been dubbed over.
Okay. Oh, really? So, you've really looked into this deeply, haven't you?
Yeah. I did a bit of reviewing. It's quite good. I quite enjoyed it. And it didn't take me out of the film or anything, so I don't see why.
I didn't jump out at me as being a problem. Yeah, there was some really good. Go on, sorry.
I was just going to say it's really, really slow and thrilling, isn't it? The film very compelling as well. I was quite on the edge of my seat for most of it.
Yeah, the lift shaft scene was very tense. and he when he was I'm trying to remember now. It's been a few weeks since I watched it. Related with the fire hose roof jump as well. That was good.
Yeah.
There's some good tensions. A few technical problems I've had with it.
Oh, your DVD player wasn't working.
No technical things like the incompetence of the deputy chief of police, Dwayne Robinson, just a total idiot hole.
Yep.
The poor use of radios. They didn't click the trigger button whilst they were transmitting to signify that the other person was signing off. The radio chat whilst removing glass from his foot. He was using both hands and he was having a conversation with the black guy outside while he was removing lumps of glass from his foot.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many little things like that jump out at me. How can you don't use a radio like that? You know,
you do if you're John McClane.
There was a very big explosion from one block of C4 when he attaches it to a chair, doesn't he? And throws it
blows up the entire floor.
The entire floor's gone. Yeah.
I mean, that was a lot of C4 though.
Was it? I thought it was just one block he puts on that.
No, it was like a barrel-sized C4.
Oh my!
I didn't think.
Maybe I didn't look close enough, but I thought there was lots of explosives.
Oh, I was trying to think. What was the line? What did he? The lift door opens, and there's a guy there, all dead, tied to a chair or something.
Oh, ho! Now I have a gun.
Now I have a machine gun. Ho ho ho! That's right. Yeah, I was thinking I would love to get that on a T-shirt. With that in that writing, in the same style, that would be funny.
The slight critique I have is kind of falls under the technical, maybe more filmographical type of critique. Is that when he was hanging into the elevator shaft with the gun, he was holding onto the strap of the gun.
The strap.
I thought it'd be so much better and suspenseful if he was kind of like swinging to the side a little bit and it was leaning over to one side too much, so that it was about to slip out. I thought they would do that because it makes sense, but instead they just made the strap break.
Yeah.
And I thought that was just a wasted opportunity. Like they could have, because you could feel it being really close to being slipping off, and then it didn't slip off at all. The strap just broke. It was a bit boring.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they didn't just, do that. Because they were obviously trying to make it seem like it was almost falling off. Yeah. But then they didn't make it fall off. They just made the strap break.
So are we doing our critiques now?
Not quite.
Alright.
There's a couple. There's another nice touch though. We're going backwards and forwards with good things, bad things, aren't we? There's a scene where one guy flies through a glass window, and on the film as we see it, for a split second, blood appears on this guy's forehead as he hits the glass. Now, whether it was real blood or not, because I don't know how they could have technically done that. Because this 1988, they didn't have CGI in those days. So what you see is what you got, as far as I can tell. But unless, of course, there was a pouch of fake blood that burst when he... But it was only on the screen for a very fraction of a second. But I thought, wow. Normally, in an action film like this, they just go flying through the glass and no sign of blood at all. But blood appears on his forehead as he hits the glass exactly the right moment. It could have been real, or it could have been placed fake blood, but it was a nice touch. Since we hardly see it,
I wanted to say, because I kind of said it already earlier, but I like the vulnerability of John McClane. He's not... unlike modern action heroes of today, like Fast and Furious, it doesn't look like they've just been dropped in a vat of steroids, just before the start of the film or something. He's not overly built, and he's really he's really getting hurt, isn't he, when he's in these fights and stuff. When he gets shot, he limps around. When he stands on the glass, it's a really big issue for him,
You can really tell he's getting exhausted throughout the entire thing, and the police officer who's on radio too actually points that out as well. And is talking to him about him being exhausted.
Well, the film opens with him being frightened of flying at the very beginning on the airplane. If you remember, he's tense. He's worried about this landing that the plane's about to do, and so it shows him as a vulnerable person, doesn't it? Yeah,
it's almost as if vulnerable characters make you like the character more, huh?
Who knew in a few hours he's going to be dangling from a skyscraper,
I was just going to move on to how their relationship with McClane and Hans, they only know each other for most of the film by their voice and over the radio. But in a lot of films you'd have the conflict at the end or something where the bad guy and the good guy are just meeting and then they have a fight or something. But in this, they know each other through most of it.
Yeah.
And then they meet and they don't know they've met, kind of.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
I really like that, just how they got the bad guy and the good guy to interact. And that's really good, I thought. Anyway,
that's clever, wasn't it? Clever. Yeah, because he pretends to be a hostage, a civilian, doesn't he?
Yeah, the bad guy pretends to be a civilian because he accidentally runs into McClane. He's unarmed, isn't he?
I don't know why John doesn't just kill him.
Oh, because he's a hostage or whatever.
Well, no, but he wasn't. Like, he figured out he was Hans when he was pointing the gun at him. And then the gun wasn't loaded. You could have just shot him, bish bash bosh, job done. And then a few seconds later, the elevator opens and there's bad guys in it. That was a bit like, oh, you could have killed him, then he wouldn't have had a leader. And then they would have been GG.
But... Good game, yeah.
Because it wasn't at the end of the film yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I just hate those kind of moments. Just like, just do your job, just kill him. You killed everyone else. The guys who don't matter. Just kill the main guy as fast as you can, just so you did all the other ones.
Now, I go back to remembering, I've probably watched this, probably my third time of watching it. I've watched it on a couple of other occasions, never at the cinema when it first came out. But I do remember it on previous occasions being more violent. I thought it was a much bloodier film than it was when I watched it this time. Maybe I've hardened a bit in my ability to watch things, but I seem to remember there being more innocent deaths. I think I only counted 2 innocent people who actually died. I've forgotten who they were now.
Well, there's the business guy, the head of the company.
And the security guard, I think, the front desk guy.
There's another guy as well.
Yeah, the douchebaggery entrepreneurial type.
Yeah.
He was getting...
yeah. Sorry, there was 3 innocent deaths, yeah. So, but most of the rest of the deaths were bad guys, weren't they? Yeah. Right. Anything else?
I've got a lot of nitpicks.
Go on then. I've already done some, but you've got some more.
So when our main character John first comes into the building, the guy at the desk, he says, "You gotta insert your name in the thing to find out where your wife is."
Yeah,
and then
screen technology. Did you notice that?
That was pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, I thought, wow, in '88.
But then he punches it in. He says, floor 30, and then the guy behind the desk says, "Yeah, they're the only ones in the building." Why'd you make him insert the?
Because he was being awkward, wasn't he?
Very awkward.
Yeah, he was. He was being a snotty-nosed, what do you call it? Jobsworth. Yeah.
I find it highly unlikely. My nitpick with that is highly unlikely that you can just randomly put in anyone's name and find out exactly where they are instantly without having to show you who you are or anything like that.
Well, I think it would, because you'd have to say, when you sign in somewhere, you have to say where you're going, don't you?
Well, in some buildings, they just have it plastered on the wall, don't they?
He could have punched in anyone's name. And then he would have gone, okay, yeah, his office is over there. You can get there just like that. There you go. Pop off. You can go and visit this person. It's like it could be anyone.
Okay.
You definitely can't do that. Like they don't even let you visit people, even if you do know them.
Anyway, the reporter character, annoying, but also completely pointless. Now I know the reporter gets to the kids, to our main character's kids, and starts recording them, and that's how the bad guy finds out
who's who,
who's his wife is in the building as well.
But
we didn't need to see the backstory behind that. We could have just seen, as a reporter taking these children's information. What was the whole point of all that screen time?
Because she then she could punch him at the end.
She really did punch him at the end, didn't she?
Yeah, and then she gets arrested for assault.
Off screen. I wanted to know, Devon, as a lawman in training, how did you feel about the way the police handled themselves in this film?
Dreadful.
Yeah.
they were awful. FBI, the chief of police or the assistant chief of police was dreadful. I know you weren't asking me, but carry on, Devon.
It's pretty much all trash, but that's how it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be, this one random cop who can't even hold a gun anymore, even though he's an American policeman, is somehow the best policeman in the entire force, and the best ones are actually the worst ones. I think it was just meant to be like that, and it was trash.
As our main character is trying to get the police's attention, essentially, and he ended up throwing a guy out the building, right? So lands on this policeman's car, and then they know there's a problem. And then the head honcho policeman comes over and says, "Well, that could just be a drunk guy who jumped off. He committed suicide or whatever." He's got bullet holes in him.
I know.
John McClane just shot him to death and threw him off a building. I mean, how can you think that's a suicide?
Because I wrote, dispatch, the radio operator, hears machine gun shots and sends a single black and white police car, the single cop, to go and investigate machine gun shots. So it precedes even that, I think. the ridiculousness of the police's behaviour or response, rather.
Hear the machine gun shots? I thought she just heard the John McClane's complaints.
No, you could hear machine gun in the background while he's on the phone.
That's how it cut off, wasn't it? Because he started getting fired at, and it was like,
yeah. Oh, we better send a single guy to go and look into it. Yeah.
And why are they picking up the hostages on the roof? They're in a building. They could just walk out the front door if they were going to give them up.
Yeah.
They were taking the hostages so that they could take them hostages to the airport, of where they would arrange another transport out to wherever they would need to be. And then they would give the hostages over, so they don't get shot when they just go to the roof of the helicopter.
You've done this before, haven't you?
Yeah.
All right, I retract that. Good point.
Any other problems?
No, I've run out of problems. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, good film.
Yeah, it's maybe it's not an actual issue, but it's like the FBI. The whole plan for Hans was that the FBI would turn off the power to the building.
Yeah.
If they didn't do that, they would have nothing. They couldn't get through the 7th lock, and that's a bit strange.
Well, apparently that's standard protocol. That's what everyone was saying in the film, you know?
Yeah, but it's like, I don't know. I don't know if it makes sense, personally.
So if he wanted police attention, surely he could have gone about it in a better way to get the attention.
Oh, you mean McClane?
Well, no, if Hans wanted...
needed the FBI, didn't he?
Yeah, he needed to be discovered, yet at the beginning of the film, or the first segment of the film, first act as we call it, it's all about McClane trying to get the attention of the police.
Oh yeah, that's because Hans didn't want it, and when the police finally come, he's like, "Wow, this is a bit early, but we can still make it."
Oh
work.
yeah.
It was trying to delay it, but it was still trying to get the attention at some point.
True. It wanted it at a certain time, yeah.
So, may I ask, how many overly confident, incompetent cops do you give it out of 10?
Oh dear. I always feel like I go for 7 on everything. It doesn't wow me. It's showing its age a little bit, but I still enjoyed the ride. It was still a great action film.
I think, considering how old it is, it still holds up. I had a lot of fun. It kept me interested.
Yeah.
I'm going to give it 8 overly confident, incompetent cops out of 10.
Okay.
That's harder to say than I thought it would be.
I felt like I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
But I think still I'll probably go for 7 still, because it was just a bit like, I can see why the critics thought it was just a bit mediocre, or it's done before, or it was just like
well, the point is, it hadn't been done before. Well, I mean, a lot of people now would say this was pioneering so many tropes. Well, now tropes,
Mm-hmm.
That's what they say anyway.
Yeah.
It certainly took Bruce Willis's career to a new level anyway. He was known for TV actor before this, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
And he became then a big A-grade movie star after that. So, yeah.
I was going to say, and the antagonist, Hans. I said his name earlier, I've forgotten it now.
Alan Rickman. Yeah.
Alan Rickman, this is the first film he was in as well.
Really?
This kind of made his name as well.
Yeah, I didn't realise that. Yeah. So I'm going to split the difference then. You said 7, you said 8, so I'll go 7.5.
Fair enough.
Is that fair enough?
It's supposed to.
Yeah, we can't have the same. So yeah, I think that's a fair assessment.
Can we agree it's not a Christmas film?
No.
Yes.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Well, it's two of one, so.
Well, I can't unanimous. I can't make it unanimous. Okay. I'm sorry. Because it is a Christmas film.
The majority of the Theory of Anything podcast think it's not a Christmas film.
It's set at Christmas, and Christmas is the reason for it happening.
It's not.
Our main character wouldn't be there if it hadn't been Christmas Eve.
I'd be on board if Bruce Willis hadn't already said.
Writes ho 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 on a dead guy's.
That doesn't mean it's a Christmas film, though.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want? Santa Claus to turn up?
I wanted it to be about Christmas.
There was Santas on nearly every desk. There was desks covered in.
That doesn't
Santa
mean
Clauses.
it means it's a film
based
Christmas
trees
at Christmas time.
It's not about Christmas, but it is a Christmas film.
That doesn't make sense, though.
It's
about action and adventure and even comedy at times.
Why can't
it's not
it be
about Christmas?
Why can't it be a Christmas comedy action film? It can cover more than one genre.
If it's not about Christmas. Okay. Well, would you say that Iron Man 3 is a Christmas film then?
I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Why? Does it snow in that?
I think so. Yeah, and there's a big Christmas tree in the living room.
Okay. It depends if that Christmas tree plays a significant part in the story.
Dear listener, we've probably cut most of this argument, I hope.
Okay, I think
you're welcome.
We've well and truly cooked that turkey.
Yeah, hammered that into the ground.
Oh dear me. Okay.
Excellent. Let's move on then.
It's homework time and farewell.
this is the first music I think I've chosen. Our next,
really?
I think so. Next week we're listening to music for homework.
Wow.
Seriously?
Yeah, I think.
Have
makes
we
sense.
imposed all that horrible music on you over the last 35 episodes?
We've asked him for suggestions. He hasn't given us any.
Okay.
No, I'm not much of a music guy, except with classical music. Even then, I'm not much of a music guy. So we're going to listen to Holst's The Planet.
Isn't it The Planets?
Yeah.
Planet's got an S on the end, yeah.
All right. If you want to do it, you can.
I just know a little bit less than you, but...
All right. So, it'll be a bit of a unusual one for us, but yeah, we'll see what we can do.
Mm.
How do you guys feel about that?
Fabulous.
That sounds really good.
Well, I approach it with slight trepidation, but I'm willing to give it a go. Yeah. I know you love listening to Classic FM, don't you?
Doesn't that stir anything in you?
Yeah. Da-da-da-dum.
There you go. Hitchhiker's Quote.
Yeah, I know.
Excellent. Well, I think that pretty much does us then. Obviously, feel free to listen to that. It's kind of an album, but not really an album. It's like a collection of songs, I think. Listen to it with us and give your thoughts. Obviously, you can give your thoughts in the comment section down below if you're watching on YouTube or listening on YouTube. We do have a Facebook page, which you can find us on. Obviously, we've still got a Twitter, which is at Theory of Anything, Ting at the end. And either you could just email us as well, because some people don't want to be public, which I can understand completely. And our email address is theoryofanything@hotmail.com. So you can obviously give us your thoughts about anything we've said today, your thoughts on the homework, or any suggestions that you've got for us in the future as well. That'd be great.
Tell us where we're wrong on any of our views.
Yeah, all of our views.
If that was possible.
But yeah, I think we're sorted.
Thank you.
If that's your idea of Christmas, then that's the end of the podcast.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Well, I think that was a lovely anniversary birthday edition episode. Thank you, guys.
It's weird you're referring to it as a birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. We're 1 year old.
Yeah, but the podcast wasn't really born.
Wow. It did.
It was
It came out
born
from
in the mind.
Okay.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
The mind child.
Shall I do the thing?
Yeah, do the thing.
All right, then.
go.
So, okay, gents, until we meet around the microphone again next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.